right, breaking down, fabricating, and filleting a whole salmon. Okay, the market term for this particular salmon will be known as a dressed salmon. A dressed salmon is a salmon where the head and the tail are still there, but all the internal organs have been removed. When purchasing or receiving fresh salmon, the two things you're going to want to take note of are, one, the eyes, to make sure that they're not too sunken in or cloudy. You want to make sure they have a nice color. And then you want to open up the gills and make sure the gills are a nice bright red color. You don't want any off colors or off odors around the gills especially. First step is to remove the head, and what we're going to do is we want to lift the fin out of its way so we don't lose this part of the salmon. And you're just going to go straight down through, and it'll cut fairly easily. Now this portion of the salmon still has quite a bit of meat in here, although this meat's not as desirable because it's part of the head, but it makes a great stock. So if you want to make a salmon and black bean and salmon chowder or salmon cakes after you cook your stock down, it's ideal for that situation. So we save the head specifically for that. The next step is we're going to take off the two sides, and we're going to take off the two sides as a whole piece. You'll want a clean, dry towel to work with. This gets pretty slippery. If you look at it from cross section, you'll see the spinal column here. You want to go just on top, barely on top of the spinal column with your knife. So I'm going to insert the knife here, make sure I have a good spot and a good start. And then I'm going to take and we're going to go all the way down the backbone. You should be able to hear and feel the ribs and the bones cracking from the salmon. It'll sound and feel just like you're cracking your knuckles. You can take it all the way down to the end. Now I still like to keep the fish intact because it makes taking the other side off a little bit easier. Now this backbone, again, is ideal for your stock. So you keep it with your head and you put it in your stock. Now we have two sides of salmon that still have their skin on. And we have this belly meat here. This belly meat is going to come off. It's very fatty and it's not very pleasant to eat. You'll see a row of pin bones here. We're going to take our knife and we're going to gently, along those pin bones, remove the belly fat and the bone at the same time. And you're going to just work with the tip of your knife and slowly, in almost a shaving motion, continue to come down. Following the contour of the bone. Until we reach the bottom, and then that just comes off in one nice strip. Again, that's ideal for our stock. Now to skin the salmon with a clean, dry towel again, you're going to want to grab the tail. Give yourself a little starting point. Now the skin on salmon is fairly tough, so you won't go through it very easily, but you can go through it. So using about a 20-degree angle, I'm going to kind of saw away at the flesh. Now I've got the knife angled downward at about 20 degrees. That way we take just skin off and we don't leave any meat on the skin, so we don't waste any of our meat. Now you notice I'm doing a sawing motion back and forth with the knife. At the same time, with my right hand, I'm gently pulling at the skin until we reach the end. Then we should just have just skin with very little of the meat left on. Now the other key part about salmon is when you run your hand down the back, you're going to feel a row, and you can almost see the row of tiny pin bones. These will not cook away, and they must be removed before you can cook the fish. Your best way to do it is get yourself a pair of tweezers or clean pliers that you have designated just for removing pin bones from salmon. Okay. Once the pin bones are removed and you can verify with your hand that there are none left, then you're ready to start trimming and cutting your fillets. What you want to do is when you cut your fillets, you want to cut on a bias. Okay, that means you're holding your knife at about a 20-degree angle to cut them into fillets. Now these are nice skinless, bone-free salmon fillets. They're going to weigh roughly 6 ounces, which is a nice portion for lunch. And the reason you cut on a bias is for marketing purposes. If I were to cut straight down, it would still be 6 ounces, but it wouldn't have as much plate coverage. By cutting an angle, it looks like an 8-ounce salmon fillet, but only weighs 6 ounces, so it's going to save on your cost. Trim this all the way down. Once these are cut, then we're going to take a solution of ice water with a little bit of lemon, and we're going to wash the remaining scales that may stick to the muscle from the board. Now your tail meat, because it's not as thick, won't cook up as evenly as these. So we're going to take this and we're going to set it over here. And when this meat has been cooked, we're going to add this to it for salmon patties, salmon cakes, or soup.